So what number system is? So in number system, we are going to deal with various types of operations. So numbers are categorized as real numbers and imaginary numbers. What are integers, whole numbers, natural numbers? So integers are the, let's proceed with the very important topic that is called as multiples and factors. We have been talking about the concept of standard form. So what standard form is? Hello students, welcome to Review of Number Concepts Class 2. So in this class, we are going to study the additional topics like square roots, numbers, cube roots, and additional topics like percentages, simple interest, compound interest, and so on. So let's get started. So our first topic is directed numbers. So in directed numbers, you have to represent a number line that has been already represented as mentioned above. So 0 is mentioned in between, and if we go to the right side, there is an addition of the numbers, and on moving to the left side, there is a subtraction of numbers. So if I'll write 5 minus 6, so the answer will be what? Minus 1. So here you can see, students, here you can see here that I have subtracted 6. So I'll move 6 steps to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. So I got the answer as minus 1. For instance, if I got the number as, so if I'm writing minus 1 plus 6. So in the value of minus 1, I'll move 6 places to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll get the answer as 5. So I hope you are following. While addition, you have to move towards the right hand side, and while subtracting, you have to move towards the left hand side. Okay students, now let's start with a question. Here you can see on the right hand side, there is a table given with the temperature. So first, we have to see which place is the coldest. So here, while taking the temperatures into consideration, you have to see that which number is maximum and has the negative sign in front of it. For instance, minus 15 will be colder as compared to minus 10. So if you are going above in the negative value for the temperatures, that will be colder, and if you are going down towards the 0, that would be hotter. Okay. So in this, I can see that the value of Chicago is coming as to be minus 10, which is the maximum value in the negative term. So I'll write the answer as Chicago. Okay. Now the second is, at 2 p.m. the temperature of Helsinki had increased. So increased means we have to add. So write down the temperature of Helsinki at 2 p.m. So here you can see that the temperature is what? Minus 7. Okay, there is an increase of 4 degrees Celsius. So the answer is coming as to be what, students? Minus 3 degree Celsius. Hope you are following. So we have just added 4 and taken the temperature as a whole number, means the integer. Now moving to the next question. So the rooftop of a building is given as to be 35 meter above. Okay. So I am taking as the base value as the ground level as 0. Okay students, so I am seeing that the rooftop is 35 meters above. Okay, and the car parking is 4 meter below. So below ground level, I have to go towards the downside. This is 4. So I have to find the height of the rooftop, that is this distance from the surface of the car parking. So here you can see that this value is 35, and this value, I am talking about the absolute value. I am not taking minus 4 into consideration. This is 4. So total value would be what, student? 35 plus 4. That will give me the answer as 39. Hope you are following the same. You can pause and write it down, and then we'll move forward. So next topic is squares and square roots, cubes and cube roots. So what squares are, students? If a number is multiplied by the same number, then it is called as a square number, and if a number is multiplied by the same number thrice, then it is called as a cube number. So here are some points that you need to understand. So first point is the square of a negative number goes into a complex number context. So we have to deal with the term of iota. So that we'll study later. Okay. Now the second point states that if I have a number as 36, so I can see that 6 into 6 comes out to be 36. So the number itself will be the factor of the number that is to be taken into consideration. For example, 49. I can write it as 7 into 7. I can see that 49 is the square of 7. So what I can see here, that 7 is the factor of 49. Now the next point is, students, the square root is opposite the squaring of the number. For instance, I can write here 3 square is equals to 9, or I'll take the square root of 9. I can write it as plus minus 3. How plus minus 3? We'll see in the next point. Here you can see that there is a multiple of the square roots of any number. Here you can see that if square root of 9 is taken, so I can write it as minus 3 or plus 3. There are two values coming out of the root. If we are talking about the absolute value like length, kilogram, so we have to take only positive values into consideration. Hope you are following. Okay. Now I can see here that minus 3 square I am writing. So it can be written as minus 3 into minus 3. Now here you can see that minus multiplied by minus will be converted into plus and the result will remain the same. So the value remains standstill, that is 9. So hope you have followed this thing, and we have to take plus and minus 3 of any absolute square value that is coming under the root. Now you can pause the video and note these topic down. I hope you have noted down. Now let's move to cubes and cube roots. So here in cube and cube roots, what's a perfect cube? Here you can see that 125 is a perfect cube. Here I can see I can write 125 as 5 into 5 into 5. So in case of cube roots, here you can see here that cube root has to be taken into consideration. So 5 into 5 into 5 is taken as cube root is taken into consideration. Now the value comes out to be what, students? 5. In these cubes we have an exact value and we do not take plus and minus sign into consideration. So let's find out the cubes and the cube roots of the number. Cubes you can easily find, as if in case I have been given 2 cube. So you have to directly multiply 2 into 2 into 2. That will give me the answer as 8. Now how to find the cube roots and the square roots we can see here. So we have to find the square root of 324. So you can write 324. You have to find the prime factors of 324. So as already been studied that prime factors, first minimum prime factor that is divisible is 2. So this will come as what, students? 162. Now again 2 is applicable, 81. Now 3 is applicable, I'll get the answer as 27. Now again 3, I'll get the answer as 9. 3, 3, and then again 3 and then 1. So I can see here I can get as 2 into 2 into 3 into 3 into 3 into 3. So what you have to do, students, you have to make the pairs of the exact prime numbers. So how to make the pairs? That 2 and 2 are coming in pairs, 2 and 2 are 3 and 3 additionally are coming in pairs with the 2, and additional 3 is coming into the pairs. So we have to take only one value from the two values. This will fetch me as 3 and this will also fetch me as 3. So final will be 2 into 3 6, 6 into 3 is 18. So this is the process how you have to find the cube roots or the square roots using the prime factorization method. Now we are going to talk about 1728. You can pause the video and solve it by yourself. So 1728 I can see that it is coming as to be what, students? It is 12 cube. So as per practice you can see that. So I'll solve it. 1728. So this is coming as to be what, students? I can write here directly and you can solve here. So it is coming as 2 into 2 into 2 into 6 into 6 into 6, as it is coming as to be 12 cube. So what I have to do, I have to see into this consideration that what cubes number are coming. So I have to take triplets. While taking cube you have to take triplets, and while taking square you have to take the doublets or the pairs. So I can directly write it as 2 into 6. So cube root of 1728 will be what, students? 12. So you can note till here and then we'll proceed further with the next topic. Okay students, let's move forward to the next topic, that is order of operations. So here you can see on the board that you have to follow this order, which is here indicated as bid mass, or we can commonly call it as board mass. So O stands for orders, which stands the same, x raised to power a. Here you have to take root x, x raised to power 1 by 2 for instances. So you have to follow this order. So here you can see on the left hand side, and I'll solve on the right hand side. We have to follow this. So first you have to follow the brackets. So 9 into 7 divided by 27 minus 20 is 7. So I can directly write it as divided by 7. So answer is 9. So I personally have solved this question how? By the formula of board mass. So I solved it first, the brackets, then indices or the orders were not there, then I have done the division part in the given question. Now moving forward, so here you have to see that this normal round bracket solves first, then this curly bracket solves second, and the square bracket solved the third or the last. So here I can see 1000 minus 6 multiplied by 24 minus 4 multiplied by 13. Okay, so 1000 minus, this is coming as to be 144 minus 52. Now we have to solve this bracket first. So 1000 minus, this is fetching me as the answer as 92. Now the final answer is 908. So hope you are following. You can note this down and you can write orders addition to the indices, so that you, if you find another concept in the books, so you are not confused. Moving on to the next topic, that is defined as ratio and proportion. So what ratios are? So if I am writing 4 upon 5 as a fraction, so this can be written as 4:5 in ratios. So ratio is the part of the whole. So this 4 is the part and this denominator is the whole of the fraction, the total value. Okay. So now we have a correlation between ratio and proportion. So proportion is that value that equates two ratios, and we have to find the values according to the given ratio. So we have been introduced to two proportions, one is direct and one is indirect. So in direct proportion, x is directly proportional to y. What does directly proportional to y means? That if the value of x increases, then value of y also increases. Similarly, if the value of x decreases, then the value of y also decreases. Similarly, for indirect proportion, x is inversely proportional. So in inversely proportional, we write it as 1 upon the value that is inversely proportional to the value that is to be given. Okay. So what does that mean? If x increases, then y decreases, and if x decreases, then y increases. Hope you are following. So to replace this proportionality sign, so we put a value that is given as to be k, which is called as constant of proportionality. So how to solve these questions of proportion? You have to just find the value of k and put in the basic formula that you have been find out. Okay, that you have fetched out of this. So here you can see here that in direct proportion, x is directly proportional to y, so I can write x equals to ky. So I can write k as x upon y. So it is up to you which value you have to take, above and the below part, as per the question or as per your need. But you have to make sure that the values while comparing remains the same. So if you are taking as, for example, labs as x, then you have to take the values of labs on the other side as the number as x only. Okay students, hope you are following. So now in this, in indirect proportion, here you can see that x into y is coming as to be k. So how to solve it? Let's see. So 8 laps of racetrack has a total of 12 kilometer. What would be the distance of 20 laps? So first of all, we have to understand that is it a direct or an indirect proportion. Here the laps are 8 and the distance is 12 kilometers. So here you can see if the number of laps increase, then the number of distance will also increase. So this is what students, this is a direct proportion. So how to solve direct proportion? I am taking the value of y as 12 or x, you can take it as 12. So find the value of k as kilometers. The distance is taken on the upside. That is the value which is taken as what students? X. Or you can take any value depending upon the question and the proportion we have to take into consideration. Okay. 12 divided by what students? It is given as to be 20 we have to find, but initially 8 has been given. So the value of k is coming as to be what students? 3 upon 2. So value of k is coming as to be 3 upon 2. Now for the second equation, you have to equate this k, and you have to keep in mind that the up value, the numerator value, denotes the same entity. So on upside we have taken the distance, so I am denoting it with the distance part. Now on the below portion I have denoted the number of laps. Okay, so this will go that side. So k multiplied by 20 will give me the distance, that is the answer required. So k is 3 upon 2 as we have already found from the first equation. So 3 upon 2 into 20, this comes out to be 10. So the value of d is coming as to be 30 or 30 kilometers. So you can see that value of d is also increasing. So our answer is correct. Now moving to the next question. If 35 men can finish a piece of work in 8 days. Okay. Now in how many days 20 men complete the same work? So here you can see that if the number of men increases, then the number of days will reduce. So this is what students? Then indirect proportion. So in indirect proportion I can directly write k is equals to x into y. So in first case, k is coming as to be what? 35 into 8. You can directly equate this as the proportionality remains the same. So in the first value this is 35 into 8. In the second value, as the multiplication remains the same, you can write it as 20 into number of days. You can solve it directly, it is very simple. Okay, so I can write it as 35 multiplied by 8 upon 20, which will fetch me the number of days. So 4 2s are 4, 5s are 5, 1s are 5, 7s are. So number of days are coming as to be 14 days. Here you can see that number of days have been what, students? Number of days will be reduced as, sorry, here you can see that number of men has what, students? Number of men has reduced from 35 to 20. So the value of number of days will increase as it is an indirect proportion. You can note these questions down and then we'll proceed further. Okay, students, let's move to the set of questions that are related to ratio and proportion and how the solution works for them. So you have been given two ratios, that is 4:7 and 9:7. Okay, so the ratio you can write it as 2:V is given as to be 4:7 and V/W is given as to be 9:7. What you have to do in this, you have to take the common term in the ratios, that is V, and you have to solve by taking the LCM for making the ratios as same. So the LCM for 7 and 9 is coming as to be 63. So I'll multiply this with 9 and I'll multiply this with 7. So the final ratio would be what? U/V/W would be what, students? It would be 9 into 4, that is 36. V we have already found out, that is 63, and W is coming as to be what, students? 7 into 7, that is 49. So what is the value of W? So value of W is coming as to be 49. You have to note these type of question. In this you have to find the common parameter, make it equal by taking the LCM, and then you can equate the other ratios. Okay, now the next question is that ratio of boys to ratio of girls is given as to be 7:13. Okay, now the total number of boys are 49. So if total number of boys is given as to be 49, then this total ratio 7 will be equal to 49. So 7x would be equal to 49. So the value of 1x would be the ratio as per the distribution would be what, students? 49 divided by 7, that comes out to be 7. So the value of 1 ratio is coming as to be 7. Now I have to find the total number of students. So total number of girls would be, the ratio of the girls, that is 13, and the value of 1 ratio, that is coming as to be 7. So the value is coming as to be 91. Now we have to find the total number of students. The total number of students will be what? Boys plus girls. So the value of boys is coming as to be what, students? It is 49 plus girls is 91. So that comes out to be what, students? 140. So hope you are following how the questions for ratio and different proportions have to be solved. You can note these and then we'll proceed. Okay, students, let's move forward to the next topic, which is percentages, and related to it is simple and compound interest. Okay, so what percentages is? Percentage is basically a fraction whose denominator is 100. So if I am writing 29%, so it is given as to be 29 upon 100. So you can see here that total number of parts are 100, and out of which 29 parts are occupied by the numerator part. Okay, so how to find the percentage of a fraction? So you have to directly multiply it by 100. So simply in this case 23 upon 25, I have to find the percentage. I will directly multiply by 100. So this is 4. So 23. So 23 is given as to be what, students? 80, and 3 into 4, that will comprise of 92%. Now this 100, simply you can solve further while I am solving. 2, this is coming as to be 38%. 3 by 4 is coming as to be what? This is still 25, this is 75%, and this is again 20, so this is 40%. Hope you are following the same. You can note this concept and then we'll proceed further. Okay students, now let's proceed with the next topic, and we have to study about percentage increase and decrease. So what we have to do in percentage increase or decrease, you can note these formulas down. So if a value, let's suppose, increases from 40 to 50. Okay students, so what we have to find here, we have to find the percentage increase. So the new value minus the original value. The original value is 40 and the new value is 50. So 50 minus 40 divided by the original value, that is 40, multiplied by 100. Okay, so percentage decrease will be original value minus new value upon original value. So if the value is decreasing from 50 to 40, so what you have to do, so you can see that the difference is coming as to be 10 and the original value is coming as to be 50 multiplied by 100. You can note this formula down, we will use it further. Okay, so here I have written some percentages, values, or the terminologies that is useful for us while solving the percentage. So 40% of any number. So simply I can write 40 upon 100 into 70. So that will directly give me the number as what? 4 into 7 is 28. So if you have been given that x percentage of y, so directly you have to write x upon 100 into number y. So that will be xy by 100. Finding the number when the percentage is given. So find a number whose 15 of is 72. So we have supposed that the number is x. So 15% of x is 72. Now what we have to do, we have to transpose, so that will be 7200 divided by 15, and on solving this will give me the answer as 480. Okay students, now finding how much percentage one quantity is of the other quantity. So this is helpful in case of comparisons. When you are comparing the other values, means two different values of the same entity, so you can use this method. So you can directly write, I have written the formula for you. So x percentage of A is B. So similarly x will be what? B upon A, the other quantity upon the first quantity, multiplied by 100. So I have written it, I will clean it up for you. You can write it directly. So we can solve a question. What percent of 56 is 14? So we have to find 14 as the percent of 56. So keep in mind that whatever value you have to find, you have to keep it in numerator, and the bigger value you have to keep in denominator. So this will be 14 ones are 14 fours are, this come out as 25. So the answer will be 25%. So you can note these question sample formulas and then we'll proceed. Okay students, now let's proceed further to the next topic, which is called as simple interest. So as the name suggests, it's a interest that is formulated simply. So the formula for the interest is P into R into T upon 100. So P stands for the principal part, R is the rate at which the evaluation has to be done, T is the time period. Now the total amount that accumulates is principal plus the interest part. So this is accumulating as the final formula. You can note this formula. You can pause the video or you can note this formula and then we'll proceed further. Okay students, now the application part for simple interest. So $500 is invested at 10% annum. So I can write directly that principal as given as to be 500 USD. Now the rate of interest is given as to be 10%. Okay. Now how much interest is earned in tenure of 3 years? So I can easily make it out that time period is 3 years. Now I can directly write the formula simple interest or interest is equals to P into R into T divided by 100. So this will cancel out. Now I have got the answer as $150. So this topic is pretty simple. You have to directly apply and you have to just formulate as per the formula. Now, how long it will take for $250? So I can directly write that principal as given as to be $250 invested at a rate of 8%. Okay, per annum. Okay students, so these are invested per annum and the simple interest to grow to 310. So the final value is $310. I can solve this question by two types. So as you must be knowing, amount is equals to principal plus interest. So if I'll minus A minus P, that will give me the interest. So the final amount that is given as to be A. So 310 minus 250 will fetch me as the interest as $60. Now I can directly apply in the formula. SI, hope you are following, is equals to, now you can say the formula along with me. That is P. P is given as to be 250 into R is 8 into T is given as to be, T I'll take because the value I have to find. Yes. Now divided by 100. This will cancel out simply. Now 25 ones are, 25 fours are. Now 4 ones are, 4 twos are. This will fetch me this 3. Now the answer is coming as to be what, students? 3 years is equals to T. Hope you are following the formula. You can go back and see this, that I can formulate various other formulas through it. You can see that if I have to find the value of R, so R is kept on this right hand side. So formula would be 100 into I divided by P into T. Similarly, if I have to find the other values, you can transpose and find the values. This is the concept that is to be used in case we have been given the missing values. Okay, you can note these questions down and then we'll proceed. Okay students, let's proceed. with another topic, that is compound interest. So in compound interest, you have to understand that the interest compounds on the means the tenor basis. So the interest accumulates in case of compound interest. So the formula for compound interest is given as to be, the amount would be P, that is principal 1 plus rate upon 100 raised to power T. Okay students. Now there is a concept of half yearly and the quarterly. So you have to see per annum basis. If I am talking half yearly, then I am talking about 6 months. So there are total 2 values of a 6 months tenor in an year. So I'll take the value of n or the value of t as 2. In case of quarter, I'll take the value of t as 4. You have to understand this parameter, that whichever value t is getting multiplied, let's say x, the same value r will get divided. So let's suppose if r is 40% and I am talking about half yearly basis. So t would be what students? T would be 2 into 1, that is 2, and the r would be going as to be 40 divided by 2, that this is the same parameter that has been divided, so that will be 20%. Note this and then we'll proceed. Okay students, I hope you have noted the formula. Let's proceed further for solving some questions and understanding the concept better. So as you can see here, that I have to calculate the total amount owing on a housing loan of, this will be what? $60,000 will act as principal. Now the time period is given as to be 10 years and rate is given as to be 4%. Okay, and it is talking about annually, so we need not to do any changes in r and t. So applying the formula directly, a is equals to p 1 plus r upon 100 raised to power t. Okay, I have values directly. So p is given as to be 60,000. 1 plus r is 4 upon 100 raised to power 10. Okay, now solving it further. So this will be, on taking LCM, this will become 104 upon 100 raised to power 10, or you can reduce this, and you can reduce by taking the common HCF, or you can solve it simply by taking the LCM. So this value will be evaluated with the help of a calculator, and if you solve it, it will come as 1 point. This will come as what students? 1.480. Okay. Now you can directly multiply this values. 1.48 multiplied by 60,000. So this will fetch me the answer as $88,800. So this is the amount that needs to be paid at the end of 10 years if the interest rate is 4% for the principal amount of $60,000. This was a simple formula based calculation. Now let's move forward to the next question. If the interest is compounded half yearly, you have to note these down, or you can underline for your better understanding. So half yearly interest is getting compounded. So find the compound interest on the sum. Sum is basically given. So this is amounting to 18,500 and at the rate of 40%. So you have to see what values have been given to you, and you have to do calculation on what basis. So if you are talking about half yearly, then r will be what? R will be divided by 2. So I'll take the value of r as 20%. Okay. Now the tenor is 18 months. So if you are talking about half yearly, so there are total 6 months in half yearly. Now time period will be taken as 18, that is the total tenor, divided by 6. So this will give me the answer as 3. So I have to take the value of t as 3. Now moving forward, so this is given as to be the sum, so I'll take the value as P for 18,500 rupees. Now you can apply the formula directly, okay. So A is equals to 18,500 multiplied by 1 plus 20 upon 100 raised to power 3, okay. Now I can see here this is going as to be what? This is 1 and this is 5. So 1 plus 1 upon 5 raised to power 3 raised to power 3. Now solving it further, 18,500 multiplied by, if I take the LCM, this will become 6 upon 5 the whole cube, okay. Now solving it further, 18,500, you can do it with a calculator. 6 upon 5 is what, students? This is coming as to be 1.2 whole cube. So I'll do it with the help of a calculator. 18,500. So this is coming as to be what, students? 31,968. So this is what? This is the total amount. So what I have to find? I have to find the interest. So what will be the interest, students? So I can write here, interest would be amount minus principal. So amount is what? Amount is giving as to be 31,968 minus the principal amount that we have taken is 18,500. Now the final answer after subtraction is coming as to be what? 31,968 minus 18,500. So the final answer for the interest is 13,468 dollars. So you can note this down, okay, students. So you have to see here that what is being asked. So I have to find the value of interest. If amount needs to be asked, then the answer ends here only, okay. You can write dollars if you want to. You can note this down and then we'll proceed further. Okay, students, now let's proceed further, which is given as to be currency conversion. So in this, you would have been given any currency, let's say X, you have to convert it into any other currency, Y. For instance, Germany currency is converted to USD. So there will be a multiplicative factor. So that will say you the values of euro divided by USD, or I should write it as simply. So this multiplicative factor will be given to you and you have to solve it according to that, okay. So let's do a question to understand it better, okay. So you can read on the board that the price of a toy is 12 euros in Germany. So price of a toy is 12 euros, okay. Now the price of the same toy is given as to be 14 Swiss francs in Switzerland. So 1 Swiss franc, you can see here the multiplicative factor that I was talking about is 0.095. So here you can see that 1 euro divided by 1 Swiss franc is equals to 0.905. So you have to convert Swiss francs into euros. So 14 Swiss franc will be 14 into 0.905. So I can find it out, the value of 14 into 0.905. That comes out to be what, students? 12.67 euros. Okay. Now calculate the difference between two prices. Give your answer in euros. Now the difference would be what? As you can see that this conversion is at a greater side. So I'll write it as 12.67 minus 12. So this will give me the answer as 0.67 euros. Hope you are following it. You have to take note of this and understand how this is used while solving the question. You can note this question and then we'll proceed further. I hope you have noted this question. Let's proceed to another set of question or the next question. So this table shows, as you can see on the board, that the upper portion represents the time and the value of $1 as per the euros is given as to be in the lower part. So this is the multiplicative factor for comparison of USD and euros. So Khalil changed $500 into euros. How many more euros did Khalil receive if he charges money at the highest rate compared to the lowest rate? So here you have to find it that on what time or at which parameter of time the rate of US dollar per euros was the least. So I can erase it for a better visibility. Okay, so here I can see that at this 1600 hours the value was maximum and at 1300 hours the value was minimum. So I can write it as minimum and this value comes out to be maximum. Okay, so I have to find the difference. So what would be the answer? 500 multiplied by the maximum value, that is 1.3401, minus 500 multiplied by 1.3199. You can solve it separately or you can take 500 common. So 1.3401 minus 1.3199. So this will be fetching me the answer as 500 into, else we have to solve using a calculator if you wish to. 340 minus 1.3199. So this comes out to be 0.0201. So I'll directly multiply it with 500. So I can write it as simply 10.05. So the value would be what, students? It would be 10.05 euros. As the value I have to find it in euros. So you can note this question and then we'll proceed. Okay students, hope you understood the currency conversion part. Now let's study the basics of speed, distance and time. So you have to understand that how distance, speed and time are related. So you can remember by this triangle that D is on the top and S and T are at the bottom. So D being the maximum value, so D will be evaluated as the multiplication of S and T. So D will be evaluated as multiplication of S and T, and other parameters like S and T will be equal to, if you have to find the value of S, then it would be D upon T, and for T it would be D upon S. So you can follow this triangle, you can note this down. We'll proceed with the question then. Okay, let's solve a question for our understanding. Okay, every Monday John travels by car to the library. So the distance is given as to be 20 kilometers. I'll write the distance as given to be 20 kilometers. And the total time taken is time taken is 23 minutes. So I can divide it by 60 to convert it into hours. Okay, students. Now you can see that I have to solve this. Calculate the average speed for the journey in kilometer per hour. So you have to calculate the average speed. So as you must be knowing, average speed will be the same as the speed. So speed would be equal to distance upon time. So distance upon time would be equal to what, students? 20 divided by 23 upon 60. So that can be written as 20 into 60 upon 23. That would be what, students? That would be coming as to be 52 point. On evaluating, this will be coming as 52.17 kilometer per hour. You can note this first question and try the second, and we'll proceed further. I hope you have made the second part as well. So there's a confusion that on Monday she was late as her average speed was reduced. You can correct it as her was reduced by 32 kilometer per hour. So this you have to consider as the new speed. So you have to calculate the percentage increase in the journey time. Now I can see that new speed, this is the first part, this is the second part. New speed would be equal to what, students? Would be equal to 32 kilometer per hour. Okay. Now I have to find what? I have to find the increase in the journey time. So for that I have to find the other value of time in the second part. So T would be equal to what, students? Distance upon speed. So distance remains the same, that is 20 divided by what, students? It is coming as to be 32 multiplied by 60. Why multiplied by 60? Because we are taking minutes into consideration. Taking the values as for minutes. Okay. So the value would be what, students? 20 multiplied by 60 divided by 32. This comes out to be 37.5. So this value is coming in minutes. Okay. So I have to find the percentage increase. Now go back and see the formula for percentage increase. The percentage increase would be what? The new value, that is 37.5 minus the old value, that is 23, divided by the original value. Original value remains the same, that is the value on which we are comparing. So this comes out to be what, students? 37.5 minus 23 divided by 23. So the value is coming as to be 0.63. So we have to convert into percentage. So we'll multiply 100 also. So on multiplying with 100, so the value will come as to be 63% increase. Hope you have followed this question and understood how to solve the basic percentage questions and other concepts including in that too. You can note this and we'll proceed further. Okay students, I hope you got the concept of average speed, distance and time. Now this is the place value chart. So what does place value charts hold? So if you have been asked that we have to write numbers in form of the place names, so you can write directly with the help of this table. Okay. So what does this signifies? So this is the place name. So it starts from ones, tens, 100, 1000 and as followed. So this is the cardinal number. Cardinal number means the value or the place value that is multiplied by the number. So if I am writing 40, I should say here, if I am writing any other number, so this can be written as, if for instance 43. So cardinal number is signifying that 4 is the value of this place, that is 10, multiplied by cardinal number plus 3 into multiplied by the cardinal number. So this will fetch the same answer as the number 43. You can take this down, okay. So number of digits, how many digits are involved? So if I am writing 1, 1, 2, 2, okay students, so these signifies the digits. So ones will be signified with the first place, followed by second, it's 10, now after that that is 100, then 1000. Okay, I hope you are following, and these are the values of power that has been given to us. You can note this down for your future reference. If there any question arises, you have to follow this chart and write accordingly. Okay. So, okay students, we have come to the end of the chapter number system. So you can practice more and evaluate according to the questions, and you can scroll down the video for your relevance. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you. Let's walk on the path of knowledge together by liking, sharing and subscribing to our channel.